So let's be honest here. When it comes to issues that evoke the emotion of hate, when it comes to evoking the emotion of outrage, those sadly, especially in our political discourse, especially in the mainstream media, do the best. Jason likes to call it click tits, but it's really an epitome of something that needs to be called out. And now more than ever, we're finally seeing how it is being used artificially for power. We saw that with Jesse Smollett. We have another story with Jacob Wall right now that we're going to be investigating and most likely doing another video on this specific channel. But this is why in this specific video, I wanted to talk about the SPLC, the Southern Poverty Law Center, a far left group. And this video is kind of terrifying to talk about because of not only just the political power of the SPLC, Jason, but also its purse, with new documents coming out right now showing that this organization has $500 million in assets and also $121 million now offshore. And this is supposed to be a nonprofit organization. Jason, I'm looking at some of the figures here. Absolutely terrifying, because it says here the Action Fund filed their documents with the IRS, and they, of course, are filing documents to be a 501c4 nonprofit for, of course, social welfare. And if we know the organization and we know its past, I think they're doing the opposite of social welfare. What's your reaction to all of this?
Make that money, shake that money, baby. They're halfway to $1 billion. Uh-oh. The SPLC has been around for quite some time. I remember my days over at InfoWars when they were more targeted towards the militia movement and white nationalism. And although that's a focus, they have certainly expanded their attack. And, you know, Luke, you've been under the attack from the SPLC for about a decade, maybe a decade plus. You're no new school guy to this. And anytime somebody starts to speak up against authority, all of a sudden, the SPLC, the Southern Poverty Law Center, tells everybody they're a bigot, they're a racist, they don't like this sex, they don't like that opinion. I've seen the SPLC go after, for instance, this new woman who's, I believe, running for Congress because she was the member of a Christian organization that protested abortion. That's not a joke. That's the type of organization we're dealing with here, and they are only empowering themselves more and more financially, and in my opinion, gaining more and more strength, which is scary, Luke.
It's terrifying. I mean, they have $91 million in public equity funds. It's also in traded stocks and domestic international corporations. They also have $92 million in venture capital, $60 million in equity funds. I mean, where's all this money coming from is the big question here. I wonder that when I saw them literally have a Super Bowl ad, like they're flowing with money. A lot of it is offshore to, of course, protect it. But again, there was some work that the SPLC did before that has been credible before. But more and more, it's becoming more hyperbolic, more of a weapon politically for, of course, political power, as it lumps in now mainly conservative groups with, of course, the same categories as hate groups, as the KKK. And that's not true. And they did this to even us. Even back in 2011, they lumped us in with the neo-Nazis and the KKK with absolutely no evidence, with absolutely no proof. And this is an organization with significant financial backing, but also not only that, also big money gives you big connections. They're also connected with Facebook, Amazon, Google, and Twitter, which they are working with exclusively to, of course, go after hate. We also heard recently that PayPal is working with them, and PayPal has been banning a whole bunch of people as well. And we have to understand this group has been wrong before, as even the Washington Post had an editorial that just flat out said it. The Southern Poverty Law Center lost all credibility, especially after they went after a British political activist, Mahid Nawaz, and they said that he was an anti-Muslim extremist. Now, Mahid sued them and won $3.4 million in court against the SPLC that incorrectly highlighted him. So it is rampant with mistakes, but this is an organization that's also tax exempt. This is how they're able to use the nonprofit status, which they use politically, which you're not supposed to do, to attack people like us. And again, not only did they incorrectly label us and other individuals a part of these larger hate groups, which were incorrect. I mean, it's just absolutely absurd. I'm looking at the SPLC kind of blurb that they have on me. I sent you the article. You have to go all the way down, but it says Luke Rudkowski dislikes the phrase conspiracy theory. He prefers to think of his organization as a movement of truth-seeking activists who are simply asking the hard questions that aren't being posed by the mainstream journalists. Well, duh, but they say it sarcastically. They also edited around a speech that I gave before, put together two sentences that were far apart and made them seem like I was calling for a violent revolution when I wasn't. They now since have changed that, obviously, since I was publicly calling out this manipulation, and even had a video of my speech. I showed the video and I said, look, in this timestamp, the SPLC used this sentence. Then all the way at the end, they used this sentence, put it together as if it was one to make it sound like there was a violent revolution when the whole speech was about a non-violent revelation of people waking up to the truth of the situation and moving away from problems by creating better solutions individually themselves. And that is something that the SPLC has attacked me before, has targeted me before. I even did a full interview with them, recorded the whole thing. Again, a lot of things taken out of context, a lot of things done incorrectly. And this is taxes. This isn't a tax exempt organization. This is an organization with so much money offshore, hiding it, of course. And this is also an organization that worked with the FBI. People need to understand that the FBI partnered previously with the Southern Poverty Law Center. And obviously, since that happened, the FBI has reporting that the numbers of supposed hate crimes has been soaring ever since their alliance. Now, of course, the SPLC also is reporting the same thing, that there's a 30% increase in the last 4 years of new hate groups. And I call absolute hooey on that, because even in the characterization of me and We Are Change by them, they listed over 200 chapters. We never had over 200 chapters of We Are Change all over the world. And again, they just inflate numbers, totally make them up, lie, because they are a bigger use of a political weapon. And the fact that they work with government institutions, the fact that they have government status, proves to you that there's something else most likely happening here. And their main weapon is, of course, hate. And if your main weapon is hate, if your main weapon is a hammer, everything is going to start looking like a nail. So obviously they're going to be inflating numbers, lying about them, being incorrect. And I'm just still shocked at how much money, Jason, they've been able to collect.
Well, it's a large business, and honestly, I am not that shocked that they've been able to collect this much money. I think they're going to continue to grow financially. They're going to continue to grow influentially, especially when you see them working with Facebook, when you see them working with Twitter, Amazon, Google. They are the biggest players out there. And if you want to sit there and deny that they don't even at least have a left-wing bias, I hate talking about left and right politics because it's really anybody that's anti-establishment. Again, you don't see Fox News talking about the story we talked about today, where the CIA is suspected by Spain's intelligence, I don't want to say Spanish intelligence, but Spain's intelligence, of raiding an embassy in their country for North Korea. The SPLC is notorious for going against people who challenge the establishment. They are very little concerned with your beliefs on gender and race. I assure you that is a cover. And because of that, Luke, hey, they might hit $1 billion in the next couple years, buddy.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. And if this story says anything, it's that hate sells. And it definitely makes sense. And I would definitely make the argument that they are enriching themselves by preying on people's fears. There's legitimate hate groups out there. There's legitimate causes of concern. But when you classify Christians, when you classify right-wingers, when you classify independent journalists as that, you're discrediting the whole thing, and they are becoming more of a disservice, not only against the people who they're attacking, but also the people who they're portraying to be with. And this vast amount of money should be very, very questionable. Their power should be very questioned. And people need to realize this is a very dangerous situation, a very politically charged situation that is getting out of hand. And it's getting out of hand because people don't know the bigger truths around this case. That's my take on it. This is is why you guys being a part of this independent media organization are more important than ever. You guys sharing these videos, you guys getting the word out there, because literally these organizations invest millions of dollars to attack us. Literally, these organizations are getting a fine-tooth comb, and they're going through every little thing that we do, investigating us top to bottom with the biggest amount of money that they have. And we're like a mom and pop organization. We're sometimes struggling to survive, honestly, and we're going up against this. Absolutely insane to see the vast amount of money and power that this organization has collected. It definitely needs to be called out, and you guys definitely need to be made aware of the situation. If you agree with that, share this video. And once again, thank you for being a part of independent media, watching, supporting, clicking. If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be here. Once again, love you guys. Thank you again so much for watching. Stay tuned for more.